Welcome to Friday. It's April 26, 2024. Well, storm number one came in yesterday, producing quite a bit of weather, severe weather, tornado warnings, showers and thunderstorms. Now we wait the next stormy pattern as it arrives later today and especially into Saturday and Sunday. So we're still going to see the effects of storm number one, especially out on the plains of the Dakotas, Nebraska, parts of the Midwest today. We're going to have wraparound showers across portions of the Rockies, but generally of the lighter variety. Then we await storm number two, which is going to develop over the weekend. That's going to bring rain, thunder, and it is going to take snow levels down to 6,000 to 7,000 feet across the region. Now, I think this is going to probably lead to some travel concerns, especially along the higher elevations of Interstate 80, the Interstate 70 corridor in Colorado, as well as the mountain passes of the interior west. It's going to snow down to 6,000 to 7,000 feet. So that means places like Cheyenne and places like Laramie might see a little bit of snow before this system is over. Now, we do expect rebounding temperatures next week. However, maybe not as consistently warm next week as it looked a few days ago, as the pattern is going to stay very active. Great photos coming in yesterday from the storm clouds that began to develop as early as Wednesday with those showers and thunderstorms, and then quite a bit of severe weather across portions of Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, and elsewhere yesterday ahead of the storm system. And while we don't expect the severe weather to be as extensive in the western areas today, it will spread out into the Midwest and parts of the central United States, where there will be a high severe weather risk over the next couple of days. So just a great photo there of the land spout. That this did prompt some tornado warnings yesterday south of Torrington as those thunderstorms really grew and got quite strong. And those clouds that you get with these thunderstorms, that's what we'd call scud. Those low-hanging stratus clouds that get all chewed up, and you just end up looking at a pattern where it looks kind of ugly. Then you had, behind the thunderstorms, a beautiful shot like that as the sun just came back out again. Now, the satellite imagery this morning is showing yesterday's low, now positioned in southwest Nebraska right here. So the counterclockwise spin is going to produce showers on the back side of the system across the high plains today, back here into western Wyoming and parts of the interior west. Then you can see thunderstorms growing here on the front side of the system, and that's where the severe weather is going to be as we head through the next 2 to 4 days. The system coming in behind it is right here. See these clouds right here streaking to the southeast? This is the jet stream winds digging the trough coming on in. So storm number one is going to be moving out. Storm number two comes in behind it. And you can see that very well on today's 500 millibar chart with the low in Nebraska, the next low coming in from the Pacific Northwest. And this is where the severe weather is going to be today, especially in this ENH, which means enhanced area. Large area of the Midwest going to see severe weather. General thunderstorms back out here in the cooler air that's not going to be as unstable. So this is today's severe weather. This is tomorrow's, sticking right into the same areas there, and maybe getting a little bit further back west into northwest Kansas and eastern areas of Colorado. So the next 48 hours is going to be rather busy. We have lots of advisories for snow in the high country. All the purple, the blue, and the pink in this area right here represents either a winter weather advisory, a winter storm watch, or a winter storm warning in the pink for snow to get heavy spring snows. So the Beartooth, the northwest mountains of Wyoming, the Wind Rivers, the Snowy Range, the Laramie Range here between Cheyenne and Laramie, all under winter storm watches. And you can see the high country of Colorado. There's some heavy wet spring snows coming. Now this is what's going to fall today. So today we're going to see that heavier moisture with the first storm, which is right here out into the Midwest, but does wrap back into the Sandhills of Nebraska and up along parts of the Pine Ridge and across the Dakotas. There's an axis of showers that will be in western Wyoming, southwestern Wyoming, back into Utah, and here into northeastern Colorado. Notice there's a little bit of a wedge right here in eastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming that's drier. And this area right here I just highlighted is probably not going to get as much precipitation as other areas with these two storm systems. So this is basically what happens today. Then we await the next storm system. By noon tomorrow, it's going to be over central Colorado. This will start to draw in some colder Canadian air. Moist, unstable air is going to be up ahead of it. So it's a classic spring storm system, and that's going to move into the parts of the Nebraska-South Dakota border area by Sunday morning and lift to the northeast. So Sunday, cool, moist conditions on the backside of the system will persist. So unfortunately, not one of the better weekends, certainly cooler, damp, and wet in some areas. This is the second round of precipitation. So notice the same areas kind of get wet again. The Dakotas, Nebraska, into southeastern Wyoming, eastern Colorado could do very well with the system tonight through Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then there's an axis of this deeper moisture for western Montana, western Wyoming, the mountains of Colorado, back into Utah, and there's that area here in northeastern Wyoming and eastern Montana that's basically just going to miss out with just light shower activity. So there's a little bit of a wedge of a drier pattern up here, but elsewhere, both of these systems working together will keep it cool, wet, and unsettled. Now, what about the snow, you say? Well, certainly by Saturday, temperatures compared to the 30-year average are going to be a lot colder. Not extremely cold, nothing really unusual for late April, but that is going to bring snow levels down. And where you see the pink and the blue there, that's where snow accumulations are going to be likely. It'll be a wet spring snow. Notice just up here in the Dakotas where it gets colder, but also here in the Rockies, notice the mountains of Colorado, the Wasatch, Wyoming's northwest mountains, southwest mountains of Montana. A bit of snow is going to be falling up into the Bighorns as well. When we take a look at where we're going to have travel concerns, the I-80 corridor across Wyoming, just enough wet snow to be a nuisance. The same is going to be found in the I-70 corridor areas of Colorado. And the mountain passes of the west are going to get snowed on from late today through Saturday and into early Sunday. So if you're going to be traveling, the higher you go, especially 6,000 to 7,000 feet and higher, you need to watch for that. So it's going to be a cool, wet weekend and a cool, wet pattern through the next 3 days across the west. And if we were to zoom in a little bit closer, you can see a little bit more resolution of where that potential snowfall is going to be. Now, we could very well see more than this in these areas right here, depending if the storm hangs down a little longer and gets a little bit stronger. But it goes without saying, some spring snow in the high country is coming. Next week, a westerly flow by Tuesday will bring in milder Pacific air, but it's not desert air. So it's more of a westerly flow early next week. So we are going to warm up, but it doesn't look like it's going to warm up as much as some forecasts were saying for next week, as these lows are just, look at that, they're just stacked up from the North Pacific across the Gulf of Alaska and across Canada. So this will be dragging fronts through, triggering scattered showers and thunderstorms, but temperatures will moderate some. By late next week and next weekend, as we've been discussing, the pattern just repeats itself. So by next weekend, we've got another trough coming in, likely another weather maker late next week, and next weekend comes again. Have yourself a good Friday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.